Square Enix is still looking to sell more stakes in their studios. So it's been a very interesting year when it comes to Square Enix with just the way that they have gone about business. They sold off their Western studios, Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix Montreal, Eidos Montreal, to the Embracer Group. They've continuously doubled down on wanting to do NFT stuff and earn as you play type of games going forward, and they've completely just been changing their model. We know what their deal is with Xbox with things like Final Fantasy VII Remake and the fact that, hey, they still haven't released it on that platform yet, which is extremely weird because I don't even know if the exclusivity rights are still there. We saw this recently with Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is going to be releasing this November, and again, another Square Enix game that is skipping Xbox as of now, at least, saying that it will hit PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC. Now, when it comes to the amount of studios they have, it looks like they are really just trying to downsize and focus more of their resources into Japanese games. So this comes via a conference call that was held last Friday, and the Japan-based analyst David Gibson summarized the plans that Square Enix outlined within this call. So first of all, the sale of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos to the Embracer Group was just phase one of Square Enix's plan to diversify their studio capital structure, saying rising development costs of making games means with 100% owned studios, they need to be selective and concentrate resources, which limits expansion. Some studios will remain 100%, and Square Enix will also look to explore to expand the studio portfolio. Now, with that being said, the biggest impact on these studios are going to be on the EU and the US studios and the large titles that come from these studios, as they want to allocate more resources mainly to Japanese titles. And I'm assuming they're looking at that and they're really trying to focus on where they're going to be making the most amount of money, and it comes with their Japanese studios. We've seen them release games like Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously the Avengers, which didn't do very well, but Guardians of the Galaxy in particular, I thought was an incredible game, and they really downplayed the success of the game in terms of the sales and all that type of stuff, and kind of ignored just how great of a game it was. And we saw that the game right after it came out dropped in price 50%. So even once their Western studios create great products, it seems like they just don't do nearly as well as their Japanese products, their Japanese games, which is why they're probably looking at going along these lines. They continue on here saying, so Square Enix is looking to sell stakes in its studios to others to improve capital efficiency. Right when others like Sony, etc. are buyers, I would expect Sony, Tencent, Nexon, etc. would be interested. And in the rumors, it's been going around now for a while now, weeks, months, that Sony is going to be buying Square Enix at some point. And with them getting rid of a lot of their Western studios, really focusing on the Japanese studios and the Japanese titles, this would make a ton of sense if Sony were to step in here and then just purchase Square Enix once they've gotten rid of the stuff that Sony just generally won't be interested in. And then Sony can take those studios from Square Enix and make them really their main Japanese division of releasing titles for that region. Because you look at what Sony has done over the last couple of years with really focusing a lot more on the West, getting rid of a studio like Japan Studios, which was very popular with some of the games that they created. If they were to acquire Square Enix, this could kind of make up for it. This could kind of take over that part of Sony. And I think overall would make a ton of sense with the way that they are releasing games, with the exclusives, with the Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, the Tactics Ogre Reborn games. So lots of stuff going on here, and it will be interesting to see what just happens with Square Enix, if they are just doing this for themselves or if they are really looking to sell. And what makes all of this even more interesting is that Gibson says that in his estimation, it's an extraordinary decision that they have more than enough money to meet the needs of these bigger Western games, these bigger Western studios, without selling stakes in the existing studios. Specifically saying here, Square Enix capitalized game development costs are currently running at $840 million, but post the Crystal Dynamics and Eidos sale, the company will have $1.4 billion in cash and zero debt, which is plenty to fund expanded game investment and not sell down stakes in its studios. And after this conference call, the actual price of Square Enix rose about 11% than its price before the market closed the day before. And I mean, this is why they do all of these things at the end of the day. We got to keep in mind, these are companies, they're there to make money. They're essentially working for their investors. And if they are not seeing the stock price rise, the profits grow, all that type of stuff, they are going to take action in order for that to happen. And obviously after that call, after they announced that information, the stock rose 11% higher than it was from the day previous, which investors are probably very, very happy about. And this is all along those lines, like I said earlier, about the strategy. They're completely shifting strategy. And one of their big things is going to be the NFT side of things. We saw them recently releasing these figures here. We have the Cloud Strife figure here for $130. But if you wanted to pay an extra $30 on top of that, you would get the Digital Plus edition, which gives you an NFT on top of the figure, specifically saying an exchange ticket to redeem a digital certificate of authenticity and a digital version of the figure, which can be enjoyed on a PC or a smartphone. Both digital certificates of authenticity and digital versions of the figure are managed by the blockchain technology known as NFT. So this is a different take, I would say, with what some companies are doing. Most companies who are getting into the NFTs and the blockchain stuff, they're just doing the completely digital side of things. But Square Enix here is testing out something with a physical version and seeing if people are actually going to want to uptake the NFT side of things. I don't think many people are really going to get into this. I mean, you look at things like Ubisoft Quartz when that first came out, and that was, in my opinion, just an abysmal failure, even though they're continuing to go along with this. But I don't see the draw of spending an extra $30 just to be able to look at the physical thing you bought in a digital form on your phone or wherever else you'd want to store it. But Square Enix definitely changing their strategy. They're going to be selling off stakes in some of their current studios right now and really focus more on the Japanese side of things. And we'll have to see if this is going to lead to an acquisition. I have a feeling that everything we are seeing, I would not be surprised if Sony is the one that ends up picking up Square Enix. But that's it for me, guys. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the direction Square Enix is going? Do you think Sony is going to buy them? And do you agree with them getting out of their Western studios when they sold off Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.
We'll be right back.